Beekeepers' sour honey. Over 4,000 years ago, honey was used as a medicine for treating the human body's material imbalances. The ancient Greeks believed that eating honey could prolong people's lives. Recent studies suggest that natural honey is useful in minimizing seasonal allergies and reducing the frequency of coughs. According to Economic Research Service of the United States Department of Agriculture, the consumption of honey is around 1.3 pounds per person a year in the United States. There shouldn't be any doubts that the beekeeping business would be prosperous in comparison to other agriculture industries. Orrin Johnson, a second-generation beekeeper in California, has started to consider a life without his 500 colonies of honeybees. At the age of 67, he does not work as fast as he once did, and yet taking care of his bees will require greater amounts of time and money to maintain. Furthermore, a near-constant barrage of threats from pesticides to parasites wiped out more than half of Mr. Johnson's colonies last year. Many of Mr. Johnson's colleagues are in the same boat. An increasing number of beekeepers are considering early retirement or are being forced out of business as honeybees continue to die at an alarming rate. For nearly a decade, beekeepers have been losing roughly 30% of their bees each winter, above the sustainable 19% depletion rate. While beekeepers can replenish their colonies by splitting and repopulating healthy hives, it is hard for them to recoup the costs of doing so. Tim Tucker, a president of the American Beekeeping Federation and a beekeeper himself in Kansas, stated that the number of professional beekeepers on its membership roster has dropped by at least half in the last 2 decades. Mr. Tucker also lost nearly 40% of his colonies between September and November. It is still unclear as to what is killing the bees. Scientists blame a combination of parasites, pesticides, and poor nutrition, among other factors, but haven't determined a single cause so far. With so many potential threats to their bees, veteran beekeepers claim that their job has gotten increasingly expensive and complex. The annual cost of maintaining a hive has quadrupled in the last 15 years. Jim Dewan, a third-generation beekeeper in New York State, was forced to sell his 112-acre farm in 2013 after losing most of his bees several years in a row. Mr. Dewan blamed pesticides for the death of his bees. "I love the bee business, but I don't see a future in the bee business," he said helplessly. "We're not worried about the bees going extinct," said Dennis von Engelsdorp, a bee researcher at the University of Maryland. "We're worried about beekeepers going extinct."